evening and welcome to this week's news. It is Saturday the 25th of September and it's just gone 6 o'clock. And in the headlines this week, Dorset communities are being reminded that there is no fuel shortage in the county and no need to panic buy. Concerns about a shortage of fuel and coverage on the national media on Friday has led to an increase in number of motorists visiting filling stations across the county both yesterday and throughout today, Saturday. This has caused long queues and congestion on roads throughout Friday and, of course, today, Saturday, which has resulted in delays to other motorists and is having an impact on critical and emergency services. Partner agencies met on the afternoon of yesterday to discuss the issue and provide reassurance to communities that it will not impact on their service to the public. They are collectively calling for the public to behave sensibly and not to panic buy. Remember, there is plenty of fuel there, plenty of fuel produced. It is just a problem moving it around the country. And if everybody rushes off to the petrol station or the fuel station and buys stuff that they don't need, then it will run out. But if we all buy as normal, there won't be any problem for anybody. Superintendent Dean O'Connor of Dorset Police said, like many other parts of the country, Dorset is experiencing a delay in delivery to fuel forecourts, but there is no suggestion that there is any shortage of fuel. We have received multiple reports today of roads being blocked as a result of people queuing to buy petrol and diesel. I would strongly urge people not to panic buy, as it will only compound the situation. Dorset and Wilts Fire and Rescue Service Area Manager Seth Wise said, there is no fuel issue in Dorset and you will not see a delay in receiving any emergency response from Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue. We would urge the public to remain calm, not to stockpile fuel and to be considerate of others when using fuel stations. If your child is due to move school, particularly go to secondary school next September, Dorset Council advised that you need to apply by the 31st of October for the best chance of getting a place at the preferred choice of school. This applies to all children moving from primary to secondary school or middle to upper school in September 2022. So that's a deadline of the 31st of October for those moving from primary to secondary and middle to upper school. Finding the right school place for your child is important for any parent or carer. The admission pages on Dorset Council website will provide you with all the information you need to apply, and you can also check out your parents' guide for information about the different types of schools and the way to apply to each one. Last year, 97% of pupils secured their first secondary school preference in Dorset. That's at a really high level across the country. Now, there are some other deadlines. If you're applying for, if your child was born between the 1st of September 2017 and the 31st of August 2018 and is due to start school for the first time next September, the deadline is the 15th of January. And if your child is due to move from juniors to middle school, then the deadline is 15th of January. So if you're moving schools, various different deadlines to look out for. There is information available on the Dorset Council website at dorsetcouncil.gov.uk/school-admissions. And there is a telephone number to ring if you've got any issues of 01305 221 060. That's school admissions. Friends of Dorset County Hospital, hopefully we've got a picture of the friends, there they come, have raised an incredible £20,000 to purchase new ultrasound machine for the rheumatology department. The machine will be able to assist in the early diagnosis and treatment of rheumatoid arthritis and autoimmune condition where the immune system attacks healthy tissue, causing pain, swelling and stiffness in the joints. Rheumatoid arthritis affects around 400,000 people aged 16 and over in the UK, and the team at DCH seeing around 4,000 patients a year, with 160 patients referred every month. Scans can be used to check for joint inflammation and damage, to diagnose the condition and to check how the condition is developing. The new ultrasound scan will allow a picture of the patient's joints to be created using high-frequency sound waves. Rheumatology consultant at Dorset Hospital, Dr. Michael Floria, said rheumatoid arthritis can be difficult to diagnose as the diagnosis is not always obvious. following clinical examination, and in such cases further investigations are needed, including an ultrasound. Having one available in the department makes a huge difference in terms of avoiding further delays in diagnosis and treatment, which is essential to be initiated as soon as possible to prevent damages to the joints. Vice Chairman of the Friends, Annette Kent, added, "We are really pleased to have funded this vital piece of equipment for the rheumatology department, and it's been a difficult 18 months for everyone, and we are so appreciative of the continued support we receive from the community." And of course, if you want to support the Friends of Dorset County Hospital, you can obviously pop along to the Friends shop and speak to somebody, or if not, go onto their website at www.friendsofdorsetcountyhospital.co.uk. Nice easy one there to remember, www.friendsofdorsetcountyhospital.co.uk. And they're always looking for people to fundraise for them, and they're always looking for volunteers to help them undertake their roles within the hospital, like the trolley service and the shop. So do get in touch with the Friends if you can help. Dorset Police are appealing for witnesses to a serious accident after a motorcyclist was airlifted to hospital. They're particularly appealing for anyone with dashcam footage. Dorset Police received a report at 10:34 on Friday the 24th of September in relation to a collision on the B3157 Coast Road near to the turning to Grove Lane between Portisham and Chickerell. The collision involved a red Seat Ibiza and a white Yamaha motorcycle. Officers attended along with the ambulance service, and the motorcyclist, a man aged in his 40s from Weymouth, was taken by air ambulance to Southampton General Hospital with serious injuries. His relatives and family have obviously been informed. The driver of the Seat was uninjured. Sergeant Dave Cotter of the traffic unit said, "We are carrying out our inquiries to establish the full circumstances of this collision, and I would urge any witnesses who have not already spoken to the police to please come forward, and particularly if you've got any dashcam footage of the accident or the moments before it." Dorset Police are also appealing for information after a man was bitten by a dog in Weymouth. Officers investigating an incident where a man was bitten by a dog in Weymouth are appealing for anyone with information to come forward. At around 7:30 on Tuesday the 14th of September, so it's a little while ago now, but they are appealing for help, a man aged in his 60s was walking on the Rodwell Trail between the Buxton Road Bridge and the Wyke Road Tunnel. Now, I know probably quite a few of our viewers will know that trail and possibly walk that trail and be familiar, so this may particularly apply to you. When a man with a dog off the lead walked past him, the dog turned around and bit the man on the ankle, piercing his skin. The man with the dog is described as white, aged in his 60s, around 5 foot 10 inches tall, and of medium build. He was wearing a light-coloured or high-vis jacket. The dog involved is described of mixed breed of medium size and an off-white collar with brown patches. Police Constable Jenny Sykes Martin of Dorset Police said, "We are carrying out inquiries into this incident. I would appeal to any witnesses or anyone who recognises the dog or owner involved from the description given to please come forward." Also, they want to urge the dog owner, if it applies to you and you are that dog owner, to do the right thing and get in touch with the police so they can obviously understand the dog owner's account of actually what happened. Now, for both of those incidents or anything else you want to get hold of Dorset Police non-urgent wise, the number is 101. Or, of course, if you want to give information anonymously, it's to get in touch with Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. Turning back to Dorset Council again, there's reports that 12 rural roads are to be reconstructed this autumn thanks to the Department of Transport's pothole fund. We all love the potholes in the roads, don't we? No, not at all. Dorset Highways has identified roads that have evolved from tracks and have very little construction and have significant cracking, undulation or pothole damage. And they will be getting permanent repair. The programme of work will use an in-situ recycling to strengthen the foundation of the road before a double surface dressing is applied to seal the roads from water damage and provide a textured surface for vehicles. Jack Wiltshire of Dorset Council Highways said these roads have become so damaged they require extensive repairs to ensure that homes and businesses can continue to safely be accessed. They have little or no foundation, and under the road surface is essentially the gravel track they've evolved from originally over many years ago. Our contractor will use a specialised machine to simultaneously crush the existing carriageway and mix it with cement to create a hydraulically bound material for the road foundation. This process is around a third of the cost of a conventional carriageway reconstruction method and is also more sustainable treatment for the problem by reusing the material already in place and producing zero waste from the site. He added, though, without the money we've been awarded from the Department of Transport's pothole fund, we would have to continue with costly, reactive, piecemeal, short-term repairs on these roads. I'm just patching them up, obviously, which isn't good enough. The Department of Transport pothole fund provides additional funding for highways authorities to carry out permanent repairs and prevent potholes from forming. That's obviously good news. Weymouth RNLI has welcomed a major donor to the station recently. Weymouth Lifeboat Station played host to a very welcome visitor on Saturday, the 18th of September, last Saturday, when Clive Millward visited the station. Originally, the day was meant to be the date of the naming ceremony of Weymouth's new Atlantic 85 inshore lifeboat. However, for several reasons, the ceremony has had to be postponed to next spring. Clive had intended to come to the ceremony partly as a visit to Clive had intended to come to the ceremony partly as a visit to the Weymouth station to see the extension to the inshore lifeboat boathouse, which he had donated the funds for, since he already had the date in his diary to come to Weymouth. When it was decided some years ago that Weymouth would have a new inshore lifeboat, it threw up some difficulties in that the new vessel would not fit in the old lifeboat boathouse. Many different options were looked at in consultation with Weymouth Sailing Club, the Town Council and the Harbour Master, but in the end it was decided that a 1 metre extension would be just enough to house the new lifeboat. On hearing this, Clive, who has been a supporter of the RNLI for a number of years and has had close contacts with Weymouth for many years, decided that he would donate to the RNLI the funds to pay for the extension. Chrissy Payne, who's the Lifeboat Management Group Chair, said the crew and volunteers were delighted to, at long last, welcome Clive Millward to Weymouth Station. Clive, who's a regular RNLI donor, was given a thank you tour of the station and the lifeboats and an opportunity to meet several of the crew. And staying with the lifeboat, the Weymouth Lifeboat has been out this week. Weymouth RNLI all-weather lifeboat, the Ernest and Mabel, was launched at 1:55 last Sunday, the 19th of September, to go to the aid of a motor yacht, which had set off from Portland Marina for a day at sea and suffered engine failure some 2 miles south-east of Portland Bill. When the lifeboat arrived on scene, they quickly established that the 3 persons on board were safe and well, then set up a tow and brought them into Weymouth Harbour, arriving around 5 p.m. Nice to hear that it was quite a simple thing there for the RNLI and nobody's lives were at risk, which is always good news. The owners of a popular Weymouth tea room, Mary's Tea Room, have made the difficult decision to permanently close due to difficult trading conditions in the current climate. Customers of Mary's Tea Room have spoken of their devastation at the decision, as bosses thank them for their loyal support. Mary's Tea Room, based on the Esplanade, is a vintage-inspired cafe which served a wide range of creative cakes, cream teas and homemade snacks for customers. The tea room, which hosted events and hen do's, was described by customers as welcoming, with its friendly staff and lovely food, and had a flower wall that was popular with diners and photographers. The tea room has now announced that the business has closed, saying the current climate has taken its toll on the business. And a spokesman for Mary's Tea Room said, "It is with a heavy heart we have made the difficult decision to close our doors at Mary's for good." There was some sad news there for both the owners and regular customers of Mary's Tea Room in Weymouth. A 97-year-old West Dorset resident, Ken Simons, received a welcome surprise last Saturday. The Bomber Command clasp he should have received for his heroism in action over 75 years ago was presented to him by West Dorset MP Chris Loader. Squadron leader Mr. Simon's neighbour decided to act after finding out he had not received the Bomber Command clasp for his medals. After being told she could expect months to wait before Mr. Simons could receive his clasp, she then turned to local MP Mr. Loader, who chased the matter up with the MOD as a matter of urgency and was successful in achieving a fast resolution. Mr. Loader said this was a small but significant gesture of thanks to one of the last surviving members of our greatest generation, to whom we all owe so much. Ken served not just with bravery and distinction during the Second World War, but throughout his 40-year career, including action in the Falkland Islands. It is only right that we ensure every brave veteran gets the recognition they deserve from the country for which they have given so much, so freely. So well done there to Chris Loader for sorting that out, and to squadron leader Mr. Simons for getting his Bomber Command clip 75 years after he should have done. And finally, in our headlines tonight, the filming of another Hollywood blockbuster is about to start in the area, as props start to arrive this week in Lyme Regis ahead of the main production crew. There has been much excitement around the town this week as preparations are underway for the filming of Wonka, a brand new adaptation based on the characters created by children's author Roald Dahl for the 1964 novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Historic vessel Lydia Eva, which is what you can see on screen, will be used for the scene showing a passenger steamer bringing a young Willy Wonka, played by Oscar nominee Timothy Chalamet, to England. The vessel arrived in West Bay last week and sailed over to Lyme Regis Harbour on Monday. It was built in 1930 and is now restored as the floating museum based in Great Yarmouth. It's the world's last surviving steam-powered herring drifter. There we go. So that will be a film to look out for, probably next year, I suspect. Wonka, with some of it filmed on the Dorset coast. Well, that's the end of our headlines for this week. And we're going to move to our first feature, which this week is Janet Hall rounding off the theme of Weymouth 450, where this week she is looking at the period after the Second World War.
Hello again. In 1958, a momentous event happened in Weymouth, although it never seems to be commemorated. On January the 4th, my family and I moved into a new home in Wyke Road, and my long association with Weymouth started. It was a very different town then. This slideshow, I hope, shows many of the changes that have happened over those years. that brings us to the end of our series of 450 years of history of Weymouth. All through those 450 years, All Saints' Church has stood here, bringing joy and comfort to the people who came here to celebrate weddings or grieving at funerals, for services throughout the year, especially Christmas and Easter, for fetes and other events. If you want to celebrate with us, there is still time to come to the Art and Flower Festival in All Saints' Church, which is tomorrow from 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock. It would be lovely to see you there. Goodbye for now.
There we go, and thank you to Janet for that report and the series of reports that she's done over the last couple of months, telling us a lot about the history of Weymouth, and we will probably be posting all those up as separate things on our Facebook and YouTube channels over the next couple of weeks, so that they are there for posterity and easier to find than digging through the programmes to find them. Well, last week I mentioned about an appeal for volunteers by Volunteer Centre Dorset, and about volunteering in general and how as a country we very much rely on volunteering. Well, this week on Wednesday I had the pleasure of being on Weymouth Harbour by the Harbour Master's office for a special occasion and to see some local volunteers receiving recognition for their work. So here is my report on my visit to MV Freedom on Wednesday this week when they received the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service. On Wednesday this week, I was on Weymouth Harbour by the Harbour Master's office to see local charity MV Freedom be presented with the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service by Her Majesty's Lord Lieutenant for Dorset, Angus Campbell, and also for the naming of their new vessel by Brother Alistair Kay, Rector of White Regis. This local Weymouth-based charity was honoured on the anniversary of the Queen's coronation in June this year by the award of the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service, which is the highest award a voluntary group can receive in the UK. 2 volunteers from MV Freedom will attend a garden party at Buckingham Palace in May 2022. Of course, that will depend on restrictions and COVID at the time. The charity MV Freedom have provided access to the sea for those people living with disabilities for 37 years and have recently taken delivery of their 4th boat, a twin-engine 10-metre motor catamaran which provides sea trips along the Jurassic Coast, Portland Harbour and Weymouth Bay. The chairman of the charity, Dirk Alders, told us, "Our charity has carried tens of thousands of passengers over the years, and we are delighted that Her Majesty's Lord Lieutenant will be able to present the award, crystal and certificate, as well as formally naming the new boat. This recognition on top of the delivery of a brand new boat for this season after 9 years of fundraising will be a memorable milestone in the charity's history. It is a huge tribute to the hard work and commitment of our volunteers over many years, and particularly to the generous donations received from every element of the Weymouth and Portland community and beyond. I hope that all our supporters will feel able to share with us the continuing desire to ensure that our service to those living with disability is maintained and improved for many years to come." Friends of MV Freedom is one of 241 charities, social enterprises and voluntary groups to receive this prestigious award this year. The number of nominations remains high year on year, showing that the voluntary sector is thriving and full of innovative ideas to make life for better for those around them. We now hear from Angus Campbell, the Lord Lieutenant.
Leave bits out, but read a citation, because that is something you know already, but it's nice to hear what someone said about you and why they perhaps gave you the honour. So here goes. Friends of MV Freedom are a charitable group dedicated to enhancing the lives of the challenged and the vulnerable. They're a group of long-standing and exist to serve the needs of local people in Weymouth and Portland and the wider Dorset area. Weymouth and Portland contain 6 of the 12 areas of multiple deprivation in Dorset, and the service they provide is well placed and much loved. The volunteers of the Friends of MV Freedom are dedicated to their mission of enhancing the lives of the vulnerable, those who have physical and mental disabilities, or who are isolated and alone. The proof of the efficacy of their work can be seen in the support that they mobilise through their geographical footprint. The money they raise from their local communities through the appreciation of the work they do and the affection in which they are held is extraordinary. Purchasing and running a specialised vessel that is fitted out for this complex task is no simple matter, and the regular replacement and improvement of MV Freedom is extraordinarily costly. All the money involved is found through the local community, with many fundraising events which continue to be well supported from a relatively hard-pressed area of the country. It's unfortunate that the pandemic has interrupted the work of the charity. You appreciate this was written just a wee while ago. The current rules make it impossible to do their work safely within the confines of the vessel itself. However, the volunteers have taken advantage of the situation to sell their old boat early and advantageously in preparation for the imminent arrival of their new vessel at the cost of £300,000, and that's what we're standing on today, and brilliant it is too. All of which has been raised locally, that's important. It is clear that there will be an even greater need of the work of MV Freedom beyond the pandemic, and I hear it's been out a great deal recently already. And the group is also planning to offer free trips to the NHS staff once things are under control. There are many examples of the benefit that these hard-working volunteers have created for the challenged and vulnerable in an area that is in great need of their services. Lord Lieutenant, Deputy Lieutenants, Mr Mayor, Madam Mayoress, Reverend Brother Kay, and certainly not forgetting Marilyn. Ladies and gentlemen, firstly a huge welcome on board. I'm very aware that many of you have travelled long distances to be here today, and we very much appreciate that you've taken the trouble to come along and support us on this exciting day in the charity's development. Lord Lieutenant, I'm truly delighted to accept this award and scroll on behalf of our charity. This honour and recognition for the charity, its volunteers and supporters who've provided access to the sea for tens of thousands of people living with disability, is a huge milestone in the charity's 37-year history. It really is the icing on the cake of the delivery of our new boat, which we're standing on, as you well know, for this season, after 9 years of fundraising specifically. A huge thank you, sir, for all your support, without which none of this could have happened.
And so let us pray. O Lord God Almighty, let your blessing be upon this ship, and upon all those who serve and sail in her. May good success and your protection and the guardianship of the holy angels always be with them. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let us give thanks to God for all who have inspired us by their example, and pray that we may uphold the best traditions of the sea. We give thanks to God for MV Freedom, and all who have served and will now serve in it. We give thanks for all those who have volunteered, and for those who have given so generously.
There we go, and that's the MV Freedom this week getting their Queen's Award for Voluntary Service. Now I know it's a very shortened snapshot of the event. We will be putting a longer version up on our social media feeds in the coming week. And moving on to another event, obviously Janet mentioned earlier on the Weymouth 450, and in White Creeges, the culmination of that is this weekend. And shortly after the programme finishes, the last night of the Proms concert will start at All Saints Church, and I'll be dashing off there in a minute. But we wanted to relate some of the other parts of the event this weekend, and the opening yesterday evening. And I'm going to show you some excerpts of some video now. There's no commentary with it, but it does cover the opening ceremony yesterday evening, and a welcome by Church Warden Jeff Thomas, the official opening by the Bishop of Sherborne, Bishop Karen, and then a talk by Graham Perry on local history, and then a quick snapshot of some of the artwork. Now, as Janet said earlier, it is open again tomorrow from 11 o'clock till 4. do pay a visit. There's teas and coffees and cakes available, but do pay a visit. Look at the wonderful flowers and the artwork. And I can only give you a quick snapshot in the next few minutes.
Art and Flower Festival, which is actually being held in celebration of the Weymouth 450 anniversary.
Well, it's a joy to be here this evening. It's one of those days where I'm pleased to have left my meetings and left my piles of work on my desk, because this morning I was in the Coal Hill near Wimborne with 600 children celebrating their 50th anniversary of their school. And it was really wonderful celebrating with them and joining an act of worship with them. And then coming down to the opposite side of Dorset, I oversee most of Dorset, to come here and just see the variety of the creativity that's here. So in two places today to enjoy both the creativity but the hospitality of a place. And so I just want to say a big thank you to all those who've worked really hard in setting this up, for those who had the vision in the first place, but those who have contributed in any way to it and who are offering hospitality this weekend. And with that, I declare the Craft and Flower Festival open.
I should just point out here, as well as the nice Weymouth 450 logo, I'm sure a lot of you will recognise the logo on the other side. Although I put white creatures in, I'm not sure what was supposed to be in it. But this is the Eric Ricketts logo that was done for the White Millennium. And then on the right is something which I hope some of you will recognise if you've been into Weymouth Museum, because this is currently on display in Weymouth Museum, and it is actually White Woman. That's how it's described. It's a Romano-British woman from about 250 AD.
There we go, and I couldn't possibly show everything in that, but there is a fantastic amount of paintings and sculptures and all sorts of other pieces of art. So do pay that visit tomorrow, Sunday, between 11 and 4 o'clock. Now we come to that part in the programme where we get the national weather forecast, and this week we're joined by a new presenter from the Met Office, Mark Wilson.
Hello, many areas will enjoy some dry weather through this weekend. There will be variable amounts of cloud around, particularly on Saturday. I think a bit more in the way of sunshine as we head through Sunday, but there will be some rain into the far west later. As we head through Saturday evening and overnight, there's very little change in the weather. Most places will be dry, variable amounts of cloud. Some breaks could again lead to some mist and fog patches, some showery rain across parts of Scotland, and just a small chance of 1 or 2 isolated showers breaking out across southern parts of England through the early hours of Sunday morning. But temperatures again holding up into double figures across the board. So we look ahead to Sunday then, as I said at the start, probably a sunnier day for many areas, any mist and fog tending to lift through the morning. So a fine picture for many parts, just a small chance for a shower developing across parts of southeast England, the Channel Islands as well. And if you do catch one, they could be quite heavy, possibly thundery as well. But elsewhere, largely dry, bright or sunny spells, but cloud thickening in the west, and that's at the head of this band of heavy rain spreading in across western Scotland and Northern Ireland through the afternoon. A strengthening breeze here as well, so that will make it feel noticeably cooler here, but elsewhere again, temperatures above where they should be for the time of the year, so 22 to 24 across eastern parts of England. So for a fair amount of weather going on this coming weekend. For more information, you can always follow us on social media, and I'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much, Mark, and let's see what our local weather has in store for us on the week ahead. Well, it's still quite mild, but as you can see, as we get into the week from Monday onwards, then it looks more likely that we're going to be getting some rain. So sunny spells, cloudy with showers, and fairly mild still for the week ahead. Now looking at traffic and travel, of course, with the people queuing for fuel everywhere, then there could be quite a lot of disruption on the roads for the entire weekend. Of course, until the petrol stations run out of fuel, and then there'll be nothing for anybody to queue for anyway, but we'll have to see how that goes. But planned work this week. Southern Gas Networks are working on Portway Close, Rodwell Close, and Wyke Road, which still remains closed after some major works, urgent works being done on Wyke Road. BT Openreach are working in Cleveland Road, Wessex Water in Down Close and Sudan Road, and Scottish and Southern in Galway Road. On the trains, Great Western Trains are running an amended timetable again this weekend, and for some services during the week, particularly the evening services. So if you're travelling, it's suggested that you do check for the current situation before commencing travel. But the good news is South Western Trains have got no engineering works affecting services from Weymouth this week or over the weekend. Turning to what's on, I'll mention a few things. The last night of Dad's Army is on at Weymouth Pavilion tomorrow evening. Mary Anning Lost in Time this week, Wednesday the 29th of September, and the Ocean Film Festival starting on Friday the 1st of October in the Ocean Room, I believe that is. And Dr. Richard Shepherd, Unnatural Causes, forensic pathologist, talking about his experiences. Quite gory at times, I understand. It's on Thursday the 7th of October. And I mentioned last week, King of Pop starring Navi, the Michael Jackson tribute. Very well worth a visit to see Navi if you like Michael Jackson's music. Box office 01305 783 225. The Noth has got coming up the Weymouth Family Science Festival on 3rd of October. Lots of fun for the children and family, all to do with science. So Wessex Astronomical Society, we've got Wildlife there with Creepy Crawlies, Bournemouth University, Portland Museum, lots of things going on there. So pop along to their website, Noth Fort. And all the information you require is there. And another one to mention is a ceramic poppy making workshop on the 16th of October, also at the Noth Fort. What else have we got to mention? We've got the beach motocross, of course, coming up on Sunday the 10th of October in Weymouth, if you're interested in that, and we will give you more information on that near the time. And of course the Weymouth Gin and Fizz Festival on October the 16th. Well, there we go. Now this week we don't have any film preview for you. We've run out of stuff that we've been showing, and nothing new has come through this week that we haven't already shown you. So I'm not going to cover anything on the films this week. Obviously the launch of James Bond happens this week, and there's been lots of coverage on the media if you're interested in that, but we'll see what comes in for next week. So we've come to the end of our programme this week, and what else can I say? Well, I can say my usual thing about popping along to your local radio stations. and listening to their services, all community-run voluntary services. Tomorrow there are the normal services at All Saints Church, although the Flower and Arts Festival is on. Services at 8 o'clock and 9:30. The 9:30 will be streamed, and then the Arts and Crafts Festival opens again at 11 and runs through to 4 o'clock. St Edmund's Church is open at 11 o'clock for a service tomorrow, and our quiz is back on tonight in half an hour or so at 7:30. And of course I'll be shooting off to the church shortly for Last Night at the Proms, which starts at 7 o'clock. And don't forget, if you're into gardening, do pop along and watch our Year in Gardening with Clive Gray at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. And of course all of the programmes can be gone back to on catch up, or you can watch them whenever you like on YouTube or Facebook. They're all stored there for posterity. So anyway, that brings us to the end of this week's programme. I hope you have a pleasant week ahead and that we don't get too much rain, although I'm sure Clive will say a little bit of rain will be helpful for the garden, certainly helpful for my lawns. So have a good week, have a safe week, and I look forward to being with you 6 o'clock next Saturday. Good night.